The Prosci Change Management Certificate costs $4,500 and more. But is it really a game changer for your career or just an expensive piece of paper? After Steve Jobs retired and Tim Cook became CEO of Apple, I was hired as a change management consultant to establish Apple's first ever business to business change management practice. One question that came up again and again by executives and individuals that were interested in becoming change practitioners was this: is the Prosci certificate really worth the cost? To answer whether Prosci is really worth 4,500 or more, I will break it down into 7 parts: what it is and what it really costs, the benefits, the limitations, what the job market really values, who a change management certificate is best for, how the Prosci certificate compares to alternatives, and finally, the bottom line. The Prosci Change Management Certificate is one of the most recognized certificates in the organizational change management field. It is based on the ADKAR model, which is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. The program is just 3 days long, either virtual or in person. It costs 4,500 for the online certification and 4,850 for the in-person certification. Now, something to keep in mind is this: your certification in Prosci never expires, but your access to Prosci's digital tools and change management resources ends after 1 year. What do we know so far? It is fast to get the certificate, it is expensive, and it is widely known. Let me explain the Prosci ADKAR to you in a way you have never heard it explained before. When I coach change managers, leaders, and other organizational change management teams, I present the Prosci ADKAR in this way, and it clicks instantly for everyone. People just get the full scope of the Prosci ADKAR certification without having to spend thousands of dollars doing it. Here we go. So ADKAR, ADKAR, the first letter A stands for awareness. The next letter D is desire. The next letter K is knowledge. The next letter A is ability. And the final letter R is reinforcement. What do these letters really mean, though? Let's start with awareness. Awareness is when people that are impacted by a change have been provided with sufficient awareness about the change. Now, awareness is not just sending out a super long email to people. That is not effective communication. Awareness is when you provide people with information about why the change is happening, the driving factors, what is the risk of not changing, what are the benefits of the change, what are the next steps, what is the roadmap, meaning what should people expect over the next couple of weeks or months. All of these key pieces of information needs to be integrated into your communications in a succinct manner. And when communicating awareness, you can do that via email, just a regular email, or via a newsletter. You can also use town halls or all hands meetings to communicate awareness. You can go on a roadshow to provide awareness about the change. It is recommended that you use a multi-pronged approach. not just one way of communicating, use multiple channels to provide awareness. One key reason why people say they resist a change is from a lack of awareness. Now, let us take a look at desire. Desire is when people say, I am willing and I am receptive to this change and I am willing to support the change. How do you drive desire? You want to present the change from a partnership perspective. People don't like when change is happening to them. They like when a change is happening with them. So you want to have interactive sessions to give people the opportunity to ask questions about the change. That's why on this screen, you see we have town halls, meetings, roadshows. That gives you the ability to really engage with people. Most importantly, though, is this WIFM, WIIFM. If you don't remember anything about today's conversation, remember WIFM. WIFM is what's in it for me. It is human nature, whenever they are faced with a change, to vocalize this question, or sometimes they think about it, other times they think about it subconsciously. What's in it for me? And so when you are able to communicate what's in it for people, it increases their willingness, aka desire, to want to accept and embrace the change. The next one is knowledge. For knowledge, you want to provide FAQs, tutorials, you want to provide virtual training sessions, or it could be LMS. You want to provide, if possible, in-person sessions. You also want to provide office hours and support calls for people to be able to stop in and ask questions or seek help. You also want to provide coaching. But providing people with the knowledge is great. You also have to help them develop the ability, which I call developing proficiency. So you want to follow up with people. Do they need additional coaching? Do they need additional training? You want to continue to provide office hours and support. You want to continue to provide FAQs and resources. And that leads us to the arrow, which is reinforcement. And for reinforcement, you want to track your change adoption metrics and KPIs. You want to continue to follow up with people. How's everybody doing? Ask people, use your change champion network. Ask them to go talk to their colleagues to provide you with feedback as to how people are adopting the changes. Tweak or pivot your change management plans and strategies based on the level of adoption that you are seeing. If you're seeing less adoption than you were expecting, then you want to do a little bit more change management to ensure that people feel supported, people feel they really have the awareness, they have the desire to support, they have the knowledge, and they also have the proficiency. All of these activities will help you sustain your change management changes that are being implemented. So that right there is how you take the Prosci ADKAR and you implement this framework to help increase change adoption for the different projects that you are going to be implementing. Okay, so we just went over Prosci and the Prosci ADKAR, including showing you how you literally can take what we just showed you and start to use it to implement change management the Prosci ADKAR way. Next, let us cover the benefits of a Prosci certification. So one of the benefits of a Prosci certificate is that it is one of the most recognized names in change management, especially in the US. Emphasis on especially in the US. Another benefit is this. The ADKAR model is very simple to use. It is easy to remember, and it helps teams speak the same language. A lot of times when I am coaching change management resources or I am supporting a change management team, one of the challenges change management teams run into is they have individuals within the team that are using separate change management methodologies. And we have to eventually educate them on the best practice of everyone within the team using the same framework or the same methodology. So that's another key benefit of the Prosci ADKAR model. It allows everyone speak the same language. That's a big win when you are trying to align departments within your organization, or you are trying to clarify messaging or reduce resistance. When it comes to applying a consistent change management framework within your organization, you are not just learning concepts. You are getting from Prosci plug and play change management templates, sample change plans, and a certificate that carries weight. But here's the hard truth: a 3-day class will not make you an expert in change management. It will not teach you how to handle politics within your organization or how to navigate resistance or adjust a project when that project suddenly changes course. Those types of skills come only from real world experience. And so while the ADKAR model is a solid framework for managing individual change, it wasn't designed to address broader organizational needs. It doesn't go deep into areas like agile program delivery or the complexities of siloed change projects, which is impacting a lot of organizations today in a negative way. That means most practitioners still need to supplement ADKAR with other models or approach. And here is an example of what I mean by siloed approach that is negatively impacting organizations today. So as a senior change management consultant, here is the picture that I normally see across organizations. You have very many projects or programs or initiatives, whatever your organization calls the projects that have been implemented. You normally have so many of them happening at the same time, and they are all impacting the same employees. But that is not the only problem. The, the key problem here is this: a lot of these project teams and change practitioners that are supporting this project, they are all using a siloed approach. You have situations, for example, where 4 or 5 project teams will be sending communication the same week to the same impacted audience, or doing training, or doing dialogue, or doing interviews. And so, what this picture leads to is employees that are impacted by these changes, they feel bombarded, they feel change fatigue, they feel overwhelmed, and they run into change saturation. What this does is it leads into increased resistance within your organization. There are conflicting messaging and scheduling. There is disengagement. And in some cases, we see people leave the organization. This picture is not something that a Prosci certification or framework can help address. And talking about change saturation, here is an example, and you can go ahead and take a screenshot of this view that you are looking at here. In a lot of organizations today, most likely including your organization, here is the level of change saturation. Managers, and you can ignore the numbers that you are looking at here, but and just focus on range of saturation and then personas. A lot of vice presidents within your organization and other organizations are experiencing between a high to a very high level of change saturation. Similar thing with directors and managers and also supervisors. Senior managers are experiencing between mid to a high level of saturation. If your organization has union employees, or just regular frontline employees, they are experiencing between high and very high level of change saturation. Interns are experiencing between low and mid-range saturation. How do you address a situation like this? It's not really something that the Prosci methodology or framework or certification can help address. So I get questions from people about, so if the Prosci certification cannot address this portfolio level change saturation that is impacting a lot of organizations across uh, the globe today, then what is the solution? And the solution is really to have a centralized change management office that can operate as a control tower. And this is something that a lot of organizations hire me as a change management consultant to come help them implement. But you don't need somebody like me to do this within your organization. This is something you can do. You can talk to your leadership and present the case to them that you need a centralized change management office, and that change management office can help act as a control tower to ensure that projects are taken off and landing correctly. And that brings us to the point that even if you know ADKAR or you are certified in Prosci, you still need to supplement ADKAR with other models or approach. So next, is a Prosci certificate a major requirement when you are looking for a new job? Not really. Market data suggests a disconnect. While a Prosci certificate is respected, fewer than 30% of job postings for change management roles specifically require any type of certification. What's more commonly required by potential employers is proven experience and a bachelor's degree, which is why some people are asking the question whether Prosci is truly a requirement for landing top roles or just a polished credential. And here is a summary of the job market reality when it comes to whether you absolutely need to pay such a high amount for a Prosci certification in order for you to be successful. It does help if you have a Prosci certification, but it is not mandatory when it comes to getting your next job. A few things I would like to highlight here, and then we will continue. A few things is this. Remember when I mentioned that Prosci is more commonly or most commonly requested in the US? Well, you might be thinking, what about other countries? So in Europe and also the UK, ACMPs, CCMP, and APMG's Change Management Practitioner Certificate, they are the most required, more so than Prosci. So who should consider getting a Prosci certification? Let's discuss that next. Prosci is worth considering if your employer is covering the cost, because let's be honest, $4,500 for the online or paying $4,800 for the in-person out of pocket is a big investment. Okay. It's also a good fit for you if you are in a sector like the government sector or healthcare or other compliance heavy industries where structure and formal frameworks are highly valued. That's another reason why utilities, gas and utilities sectors, they like the change practitioners to be Prosci certified. Also, if you are just starting out in change management, Prosci can give you a well-known credential that helps establish credibility and opens doors with recruiters and also hiring managers. In short, it makes the most sense when you need structure, recognition, and someone else is footing the bill. Okay. On the other hand, Prosci may not be the best investment if you are already experienced in leading change management. In those cases, the certificate adds little more than a line on your resume. It's also less valuable if you are in a fast moving industry like tech, startups, or AI driven environments where flexibility and agility matter more than rigid frameworks. And if you are paying out of pocket without a clear career benefits, there are more affordable alternatives like the OCM Solutions free change management training, as well as the CCMP or APMG certificate that may give you the validation you need at a fraction of the cost. In addition, you also have university programs that uh, provide low cost opportunities to get certified. So let's put things in perspective when it comes to cost very quickly. Prosci ranges $4,500 to $4,850 for a 3-day program. If that is out of reach, consider these alternatives. CCMP, which is the ACMP certification, is less than $750, although it does require prerequisites and ongoing education to maintain the certificate. We also have the OCM solution, a training. The link is below, and that is free. Okay. And APMG CMP is another popular option in Europe. So, bottom line, is the Prosci certificate worth the cost? No, not on its own. The more you practice and implement change management deliverables, the better you will become in developing into an effective, an efficient, and a successful change manager or change practitioner. Getting a 3-day training should not be considered the event that will make you an effective change practitioner. It is the experience and the hands on knowledge that you gain that really makes the difference. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I say. What matters is this: what is your situation? How do you know, you watching this video right now, looking at me, how do you know if the Prosci Change Management Certification is right for you? It starts with a few keyword questions. One, what kind of change, employment, or job do you want to do? There are different kinds. For example, I am a change management lead, and I also do change management consulting. As a change management lead, I lead change management. I also manage change management teams. And as a lead, I lead all aspects of change management. I am not just doing communications or doing training, I do everything. Okay. Another question you want to ask yourself is, what does your industry value? And a third question is, what change management approaches are already being used in your organization? If Prosci is being used and required within your organization, then it makes sense for you to go for a Prosci certification. These questions should drive your decisions. So go ahead and watch the next video and continue to increase your success. And don't forget to like this video so I know that you have found it valuable, and also subscribe to our channel for more and helpful change related content. And talking about change management certifications and training, I provided you with a link below to the free OCM solution change management training. So watch the next video and reach out to me if you have any questions. I am more than happy to answer them as best as I can. See you there.